All right, I'm Terry Lickona. We are back live from the stage of the Austin City Limits in the Moody Theater, and I'm out of breath, even though all I did was sit and watch. That was an awesome show. That was really great, you guys. And
thank you, man.
Thank you.
Knowing it must have been a challenge playing to a completely empty house. You've been here before. You know what this scene is usually like.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people at home watching, and they were dancing. I mean, seriously, people were chatting it up big time, and they were definitely doing their part.
Well, it's what we got to do now, and we're kind of used to the playing and not having the audience now, because we've done a few things from home and what do you call them?
Pay-per-view.
Yeah, our pay-per-view shows.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of used to it, and that's okay. It's what we have to do now. But I think it's important, and I think it's important that this show continues, and that you guys do this, and that we show up and bands show up and perform and get music out there to the folks sitting at home wanting to be entertained.
Absolutely, they can't be at their favorite venue or concert to see it live, which they are used to doing and look forward to doing again. And I think there's something, it gives us hope to see live music once again on this stage. Because this stage has a special meaning.
Yeah, and it was dark for a little bit, right?
This is true.
Yeah.
We've only done one other show since the COVID era began, so more to come. All right, let's talk about En Español, the newest album from the Mavericks. The obvious question, which you've been asked already, I'm sure dozens of times, the Mavericks have been around on and off for the last 30 years or more. Why now? Why release this album in all Spanish?
Well, there's probably a lot of reasons for that, but I think we're at the point in our lives, in our career, where it's pretty hard to tell us what to do anymore. We kind of know what to do, and we're in charge of what we're doing. And so when we got back together again in 2012, one of the projects that we had on our list of things to do was a Spanish record. And the only thing that we stipulated was we weren't going to put a time limit on it. Whenever it was done, it was going to be done. And it just so happened that it happened to be done at the end of February. That's when we finished it. And so just in time for the COVID breakout and all that. But that's when it was done. And then when you start to ruminate and ponder, it's like, well, do we release it? Do we not? And in these times, I think it's important to keep the music going and stay connected, and this album was the perfect album for us to release right at this moment.
Well, I know you've been thinking and talking about doing it for years, but I think it was maybe recently inspired by the show you did in Havana Time Machine for PBS a couple of years ago. That might have given it a little extra boost.
Man, I think it kind of gave us the push or the seal of like, hey, let's get this done. That was a life-changing trip for me. Personally. Just being there in a place where my parents are from and my family's from, and it just kind of made you. It just made me think of what we do and life a little differently, and take advantage of the moment. We're not getting any younger. We're like, let's make this record. Now is the time to make this record, and these are also interesting times, obviously for the obvious reasons and for the not so obvious reasons, but. For a band like us to have released this record at this point in time, the irony isn't lost on us. That the way immigrants have been treated, the way the Latin community has been talked about, it's hard not to take that kind of stuff personally. And so if music helps people see things in a different way, or maybe shines a light on subject, or maybe just connects us in a way that only music can, and so for all those reasons it was a good idea to release this record at this time.
And the results speak for themselves. So let's talk about the songs. Okay. It's a mix of classic songs and some originals. So I know everything you guys do is a collaborative, collective effort.
You couldn't tell by this interview. I'm the only one talking.
So now is your chance to jump in there. How do you choose these songs from literally thousands and thousands of classic Spanish songs from all over the world?
Yeah. Hold on, guys. I'll go again. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I will say, we all listen to a lot of different kinds of music. We're all crazy about all kinds of genres, and the Mavericks is always kind of we're not afraid to mix in some ska and mix in some R&B or whatever. We do what we like to do, and we've always done some Latin music mixed into what we do live, and even style-wise in some of the records. But I think when it came to like choosing songs, you kind of have to go with the guy that's going to sing the songs,
So back to me.
Yes, that's what I'm
So thank you, JD. But yeah, it is for this one in particular, but we have. I think the guys have trust in me, and I trust in them in that, hey, this is a song that I want to do, and they'll go, okay. And even if it's weird or it sounds weird, like I go, hey, maybe not like this. I kind of hear it this way. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah. And so we all start, everybody starts throwing in their bits. And sometimes I'll have a specific idea for an arrangement. Sometimes I'll just play them a song on the acoustic and we start jamming and we figure stuff out. And so, but of course, it does have to come through me because I'm singing ultimately I'm singing these songs, and so I've got to be able to connect, and I've got to be able to not only connect to the audience but also connect to the band and make sure that we're all on the same page. And what's the fun thing, one of the reasons I wanted to do this record with the band is that we're not a salsa band. We're not a mariachi band. We're this weird hybrid thing. We're the Mavericks, and I knew that if we got the right songs, we could arrange them in such a way where it would sound like us, and yet it would pay homage to these beautiful songs that we've selected as well. And so. It was a collaborative effort for sure, but a lot of thought went into these arrangements and a lot of time went into them, and that's why it also took a couple of years to make it.
Eddie, I'm sure this had a very personal meaning to you. You've been playing guitar with the Mavericks on and off for what, 20 years now, almost 20 years.
Yeah, well, that's hard to believe, but it's true, pretty close. You're right.
Seriously, because of your heritage, these songs brought back a lot of memories, and it was almost like going full circle for you, right?
This is absolutely full circle for me in a personal way. My musical journey started with the music that we're paying tribute to. I was a kid at home and all the family parties, and we had lots of them in my family. I have a big family in Southern California. Hey, everybody in La Puente, how you doing? But that's where it started. As a kid, I would be in there with my grandpa and my uncles, and they would be playing all this music with guitars. And if you didn't know how to play an instrument, it didn't matter. My grandfather he'd find something for you to play, and he'd put it in your hands and play it, But in particular, there's one song, and there's many on the En Español, but there's one in particular, Sabor a mí, is the one that I remember. I don't remember ever a time not knowing that song. That's how far back in my musical journey that song goes through my family. And so to have a moment like this, it's and also I got to say, to jump on what Raul said, is a very proud moment for me. You know, it's taken me personally a long time to really say that about my heritage and about who I am. You know, it's a crazy place we live in. You know, there's the promise of so many beautiful things, but then there's sometimes not fulfilled too. So for me, this is such a proud moment for me to be able to make music with my brothers. I mean, we go back even farther than we played music together. I mean, we've been friends for way back, you know, and so to have this moment together to make this music is absolutely personal, and it's a full circle moment for me. And a lot of the songs on this record are like that for me, you know. And I remember when Raul first played me some of his ideas, I was like, it was like a lightning bolt. I said, oh my God, we got to do that. And that was years ago. So yeah, this has been in the making for a long time, but it's really surreal to have this moment too. You know, all my family, they're listening to it and they're watching, and I'm proud. What can I say? It's a beautiful moment for all of us right now.
And I'm sure a lot of other people are feeling the same just by watching and listening to the music tonight. So it must have been a little bit of a challenge, or maybe intimidating, to be mixing in your own new songs with some of these incredible classic Spanish songs that are known all over the world. And even writing and singing in Spanish is a whole different thing from doing it in English or any other language for that matter. You've done both. You've written plenty of songs in English, Raul. So talk a little bit about the difference when it comes to writing in Spanish, the vocabulary, just the grandiosity of the Spanish language and the romance behind it.
Well, you're right. It is a challenge to. I mean, I can speak it, I can read it, and I can certainly communicate with my mom but to write a song is a different thing. And so, but luckily I had help, and you know, I surrounded myself with these wonderful Cuban musicians, Lisette Diaz being one of them, who was on stage earlier with us. She helped me write a couple of songs, and as well as our videographer and photographer Alejandro Menendez, who's here somewhere, and we he even brought out, he has this beautiful old rhyming dictionary from the 1940s from Argentina. And it's just, it looks like something like out of a movie, like from out of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like we went and got this, you know, from some hidden cave somewhere. And it's just beautiful, and the language that's in there is just gorgeous. And so we referenced it, you know, every once in a while, and
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Everybody does it. We just happen to have a cool leather-bound book from the 30s, you know, that so. But it was challenging, but it was fun, and what was great is that you know, it was, I would have an idea, I would have the title, I would have a hook and a melody, and more or less how the song would go. I just needed to now fill in the blanks, and I would say, this is what I want to say, this is how I hear it, and then of course they would laugh at me and make fun of me, and they say, no, that's ridiculous. This is how you say it. And so then we would correct it and go back and forth, and the process was really fun and challenging, but I love the results, and I'm really proud to have worked with those guys on these songs.
And then just singing some of these classics like Me Olvidé, which was your grandfather's favorite song, and knowing that you're singing that song from Julio Iglesias. I mean, again, you've got to have a lot of self-confidence, and there's one thing you're not lacking, Raul, and that is self-confidence.
You know,
for good reason.
You know, Terry, I know this looks easy.
No, it doesn't really.
I know this looks easy. None of this is easy. Let me tell you, kids,
yes,
this
thank
takes
you.
all day.
Yes,
all
thank
day. You. Anyways, yeah, thank you, man. It's a beautiful song, and it was my granddad's favorite song, and that was one of the first songs that we had on our list to record, and so I'm really, to have played it here tonight on this stage and to include that on this record means a lot, and so thank you for mentioning that song.
You bet. Well, so finally, Paul and Jerry Dale, you've played with these guys for a long time. And certainly the Mavericks are famous for, among other things, exploring all kinds of new ground musically, or ground that other people have explored, and just turning it into your own thing. what's, in your minds, what's so different about this particular project that stands out?
I will say for myself, now I'm a Texan, so hey everybody. So I definitely grew up hearing a lot of Spanish music, and of course you learn some Spanish when you're in elementary school and stuff, but that somehow goes away a little bit. But I would say to me it wasn't so far-fetched, because it's something that that I grew up with too. It's not part of my heritage, but it was, what I loved about it was how some of it is pretty challenging, and it still is challenging to me to play some of these songs right now, because we haven't been out touring with it and working on them so much. But I love the challenge though, because some of those rhythms and the piano stuff is like, that's not what I'd normally go to. Although, I mean, sometimes when in a few of the songs that we've been performing, but
no, usually you're good with like kicking it, spilling beer on it, and waving to the crowd.
That
That's
works.
What you're good with it.
That hides the fact that I can't really do that. So.
No.
Not to really simplify, but to me this sounds like a Mavericks record, except that I don't know what he's singing about because I don't speak Spanish. The process was slightly different because we did it over quite a bit of time, and I'm thinking arrangement-wise, there were times when a lot of Latin music doesn't really have drum sets, so we're trying to adapt that to that. So as far as playing, it was fun kind of exploring that idea and coming up with an idea, but it really came out, and I really didn't know it because there was so much time that we recorded this over a couple of years, and of course they listened on the bus late, and just to put it out there now so everyone knows, Jerry Dale and I are a sad state of rock and roll. We finish a gig and we go to bed. These guys stay up, listen to music, have fun, and probably come up with great ideas at that time for that, where we're sleeping and stuff. So I haven't really I hadn't really heard it until I sat down after the record was out. I listened to it and I was like, Jesus, this sounds like exactly like what I would have thought a Mavericks record would sound like, and a good one too. So that's the only difference to me, is that it is in Spanish. And I will say the thing about the writing, I have to ask someone if this is a Raul song or if this is, because we're all audiophiles, but I'm the least of the audiophiles here. So I don't know a lot of these songs, especially the ones that are from there. And they were so seamless to me. Mujer is my favorite song. I'm like, man, I love that song. Who sang that first? And it's like, well, Raul wrote that one. I'm like, oh, okay. So credit to my brother's writing. And,
well,
and I will say one more quick thing.
Yeah, sure.
I will say what you call self-confidence, I call passion. And I think you have to have it. You have to be. If you have passion, you have self-confidence, and I believe that what he puts into when he sings.
Well, and the raw talent to back it up. It all goes together, you know. But the self-confidence certainly helps when you sit on a stage or in a recording studio.
Yeah.
Well, the album, the music has certainly had a lot of impact. It's reached a lot of people, turned a lot of heads, and gotten a lot of great critical reviews and raves that I've seen. And especially at a time like this when, you know, Latin music is finding its way into places it's never been before, into the mainstream. Everybody wants to get in on the act. So, and you're doing your part to certainly move it forward. Congratulations on the success of this, and just for making it down here to do Austin City Limits with everything that's going on right now.
Hey,
we really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us, Terry. Thank you.
And thank you, everybody.